What if I told you that banks have been using your promissory note to create money all along? What if I told you that you can actually turn the tables and use the same method to legally settle debt? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how promissory notes work, how banks use them to create credit, and how you may be able to use promissory notes to discharge debt in a legal way. First things first, I want to tell you guys I've been studying consumer law for almost 3 to 4 years. I've been studying banking fraud. I've been studying financial loopholes, financial literacy. And today I'm going to be exposing what they don't want you to know about promissory notes and debt payoff. So make sure you guys tune into this video all the way to the end. If you stay all the way to the end, I have a special gift for you guys. Also, if you're brand new, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because when you like, comment, and subscribe, you're boosting the algorithm and you're helping me get out there. But also at the same time, it gives me even more of a reason to keep dropping these bangers. Okay. Also at the same time, share this with everybody that you know. Okay. That's dealing with debt, wants to understand the consumer law process. Anybody that you feel like you've been trying to tell them that this stuff is real, send this video to them and let this video be one of those videos where you prove to them and show them that, hey, look, this stuff is actually real. All right. So go ahead and do that. And we about to dive into this. Okay. Now, another thing I want to highlight, this is not legal advice. Okay. Do your due diligence. All the things that I'm going to be talking about today is to empower you to research and do your due diligence. A lot of times people just want to go based off a video, and when the video doesn't go, when you feel like, oh, the video doesn't explain everything I need to know, that's where you come in. That's where you come in and you fill in those gaps. Dig me? So when we dive into UCC 3-104, it talks about a negotiable instrument, okay? And essentially it breaks down that a negotiable instrument means a unconditional promise or order to pay a fixed amount of money with or without interest and other charges. Notice fixed amount of money, okay? Notice it says a promise or order. Notice how it doesn't just say $1. As a matter of fact, I don't even think it says $1, okay? When you scroll down, it actually says note somewhere. Here we go. An instrument is a note. So you can say that the Federal Reserve note is a negotiable instrument, but so is a promise, okay? And essentially, if you have a promissory note, it falls within the definition of both note and draft, okay? A person entitled to enforce the instrument may treat it as either, okay? A check means a draft, okay? Cashier's check, teller's check, traveler's check, certificate of deposit means an instrument containing an acknowledgement by a bank that a sum of money has been received by the bank and a promise by the bank to repay the sum of money. A certificate of deposit is a note of the bank. Okay? So here's the truth, okay, about how money is created. Reality is banks don't actually lend you money. They create credit based on your promissory note, okay, on your unconditional offer to pay money. Okay, then you dive into the definition of tender. Okay, tender is also a unconditionally offer money or performance to meet an obligation. So a lot of times they'll argue and say you need to give lawful tender, but if you gave them a promissory note, you can argue that you did do that. Okay. So essentially what happens is your signature funds the loan and the bank sells your promissory note as a financial instrument. This process is called securitization, where the note is turned into an asset and is used to generate profits. Okay, so here's what this means for you. All right, if your promissory note was used to create credit, why do you still owe debt? The second thing I will ask, if a lender monetized your note, do they still have legal right to collect your payments? And then lastly, if you can issue your own promissory note, can it be used to settle debt the same way that banks do? So let me show you guys how you can pretty much put together your own promissory note. Now I went on Google. As a matter of fact, I'll show y'all went on Google, typed in promissory note. It says a promissory note is a written agreement between a lender and borrower that promises to repay a loan plus interest. Okay? It says the lender issues the promissory note. The borrower signs the promissory note. The promissory note outlines the loan amount, interest rate, and repayment schedule. See, this is what they'll call a loan agreement. But it can't be an agreement if there's not, it can't be a contracted agreement if both parties are not giving equal value. Okay? If they're typing numbers into your bank account, or if they're only able to create credit when you give them a promissory note, then there is no exchange. You are actually loaning money to yourself. But we're not about to talk about that right now. Now, then we dive into just some images, because a lot of people will say, oh, well, I don't know how to do this thing. Well, I just typed in promissory note on Google. This is how simple it is to just cross-reference everything I'm saying. Just type it in on Google and look at what you find. Okay? You don't got to go on DuckDuckGo. You don't got to find all the, you don't have to do that. People say stuff like this to discourage you from doing it. Okay? But you can easily go and click any one of these pictures and get an idea of what a promissory note should look like. Okay? I, J. Monroe, do promise to pay City Finance Code the sum of $50,000. Repayment is to be made in the form of 300 equal payments at 6% interest, or $322 payable on the first of each month beginning on August 1st, 2005 until the total debt is satisfied. Signed, J. Monroe. Okay? What you guys don't know is that the dollar is actually an IOU. Okay? So essentially, this is now a legal form of tender. Okay? Here's where it's a picture of a definition. A promissory note is a debt instrument that contains a written promise by one party to pay a definite sum of money either on demand or on a specified future date. Okay? Then we got this picture, standard promissory note. Let's see if I can pull it up. It took me straight to this page where you can e-file it. Okay? But let's just see if I can just download it. Okay, perfect. Boom, you can download this one too. Okay? Standard promissory note. And you can essentially fill this out. As you can see, it's out there. Okay? Now, I told you guys if you stay to the end, I got a special treat for you guys. Now, the next question is, how do I use the promissory note to pay off a debt? Because I can show you guys this, but a lot of times people say, oh, I've done this before, and they never credited my account. Or if I did do this, why are they coming after me for debt? Why are they sending me bills? It's a proper process in order to do this. Now, again, I'll say this again. All rights are reserved. This is not legal advice. This is something that I would do. Okay? Now, another thing I want to do before I dive into this, man, if you haven't already liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. Okay? If you're brand new, go ahead and subscribe. You dig me? I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. Okay, bet. So, first thing you want to understand is how to draft a properly structured promissory notes. Okay, I just showed you guys some example. You can Google some promissory notes online. Okay, but let's just talk about what UCC 3-104 says. Okay, a promissory note must be signed by the issuer. It must include a specific promise to pay. It must have a specified amount in terms, and it must be negotiable under commercial law. If you follow UCC 3-104 as far as the elements of what your promissory note should look like, then you are in the clear of making a negotiable instrument of a promissory note. Okay? Next thing you want to do is you want to submit your promissory note as payment. Okay? Send the promissory note to the lender's payment department, okay, not their customer service, with a cover letter referencing UCC 3-603, tender of payment. Okay, 3-603, this is for my people that just came to this video and hasn't watched any of my other videos. We talk about this a lot, but UCC 3-603, tender of payment. If tender of payment of an obligation to pay an instrument is made to a person entitled to enforce the instrument and the tender is refused, there is discharge to the extent of the amount of the tender of the obligation of the endorser or accommodation party having a right of recourse with respect to the obligation of which the tender relates. So long story short, my baby, what happens is when you send your promissory note, you want to notify them that, hey, look, man, If you refuse this, it's going to be discharged. Okay. So I will request a written confirmation of acceptance or rejection so that we can make this clear. When you start to ask these things, they have to decide whether they want to send you a rejection letter or ignore you. They have to decide if they're going to accept it, because when you put this out there, you're literally enforcing the instrument and saying, look, my baby, if you don't respond, then I'm assuming you rejected it and or refused it, and it will be discharged. I'm assuming it's settled. Okay? Because when you send any type of documentation to a lender with your signature, it now falls under the mailbox rule, which creates a contract where they must perform by either notifying you of the acceptance, and if they don't notify you of the acceptance or don't even respond at all, that is called tacit assent, or it's an agreement. That means you agreed to what I just sent you. So you want to be clear. You want to send your promissory note and say this is used to pay, and if you do not respond or if you reject it, then it's either discharged or I'ma assume it's settled. Okay? Then you also want to ask them to give you a full ledger accounting of the loan. So not only am I sending you the promissory note, I'm letting you know that if you reject it, there is discharge, or if you ignore it, then it's settled. But I'm also asking you for the accounting so that I know that it has reflected. Because under the Truth in Lending Act, you have a right to demand the lender of these things. Provide a full accounting ledger of that transaction. Number 2, show how the original promissory note was used. And number 3, confirm whether the loan has already been paid via securitization. Okay? Especially if you're going to reject it. I need this information regardless. Okay? So here's step 4 if they refuse it. Okay? If the lender refuses to accept your promissory note, send a notice of dishonor under 3-505. Okay? Okay? It says that a purported stamp or writing of the drawee, payer bank, or presenting bank on accompanying the instrument stating that an acceptance or a payment has been refused unless the reason for the refusal are stated and the reasons are not consistent with the dishonor. Okay? A book or record of the drawee, payer bank, collector bank kept in usual course of business which shows dishonor even if there's no evidence of who made the entry. Okay? A protest is a certificate of dishonor made by the United States consul or vice consul or a notary public or other person authorized to administer oaths by the law of the place where the dishonor occurs. It may be made upon information satisfactory to that person. The protest must identify that the instrument and certify that either the presentment has been made or, if not made, the reason why it was not made, and that the instrument has been dishonored by non-acceptance or non-payment. The protest may also certify that notice of dishonor has been given to some or all parties. Okay? Long story short, okay? Under this subsection C3-505, you can essentially demand they provide a legal basis for rejecting a valid negotiable instrument, which we just went over by law. A promissory note is a valid negotiable instrument, okay? And if they cannot legally justify the rejection, the debts may be deemed paid by operation of law under E3-603. So it's important that you challenge them on their rejection, okay? It's important that you ask them for specific information, even though you put together a promissory note, even though we know by law that these are supposed to go through. They are not going to make it easy. They're either going to ignore. I get a lot of people that say, oh, they ignored me. Okay, well, if they ignored you, then just notify them of 3-603 and just take it as acceptance. Also, at the same time, a lot of times we are not demanding them to provide us documentation and giving them specified instructions of the type of documentation that we need in order for us to feel like they have done their job. Okay? Regardless if they say something is refused or rejected, they must provide the things that you asked for in regards to the loan. Okay? And if they get to a point where they reject it or say, oh, you cannot do this, okay, well, I want you write another letter and you ask them to prove it to you. Prove the legal basis of your refusal and prove that this is not a valid instrument. Okay? And if you cannot legally justify your rejection, then 3-603 pretty much says that there's discharge. Do y'all gather that? So if a bank accepted a promissory note from you to create the loan, why couldn't you use your promissory note to pay it off? Think about that for a second. If my original promissory note gave you the ability to create credit and make money, and you was able to use it as a financial asset, why can't I do it again? Okay? So now I want to show you guys, because now we coming to the end of this video, and if you made it all the way to the end, I'm at the word discharge. I'm going to show you guys some letters that I put together, okay, in regards to a promissory note, and I'm going to show you my own personal promissory note, okay? Now, what I'm about to show you guys is, you guys are going to thank me for this, okay? This is going to be included in my complete dead guide, along with other letters that I talk about in my YouTube videos. So if you've seen my previous YouTube videos and you're looking for those letters, that's going to be included in the complete dead guide. Now, I'm about to go over the promissory note template for debt settlement, okay? All right, let's move myself out the way. Okay, so this is my promissory note. Okay, I'm putting you guys on game of my promissory note. Now you can use the ones that you find online, but even if you use that in connection with this, okay? So this is just a template. This is not legal advice. If you guys see this as a helpful tool, by all means, okay? I'm gonna go over a couple of key points here, and then we'll go from there. So first things first, you wanna address it properly, okay? What's understood doesn't need to be explained, okay? See if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so first things first, promissory note for payment settlement. For value received, I, your name, undersigned, issuer, hereby promise to pay to the order of lender's name, payee, and the sum of debt amount as lawful settlement for the outstanding obligation related to account number. Throw the account number in there. Statement date, most recent bill, original loan date, the loan origination date. Then we dive into the payment terms. Payment shall be made via this negotiable instrument in accordance with UCC 3-104 and UCC 3-603, which recognizes promissory notes as valid payment instrument. Okay. The issuer tenders this promissory note as full and final settlement for the outstanding obligation. Legal consideration. This promissory note constitutes valid and lawful consideration under Uniform Commercial Code and shall be honored accordingly. Pursuant to UCC 3-603, once a valid tender of payment has been made, the creditor must either accept it or forfeit the right to demand further payment. The payee is required to process this note as payment in accordance with federal and state banking regulations. Dig me, we're going through this fast. Authority and validation requests, just for those people that are just trying to, you know what I mean? But I'm giving you guys a free game. Payee must provide a full written explanation if they refuse this lawful instrument. And if the payee refuses to honor this note, they must provide an original wet ink promissory note associated with the debt under UCC 3-305. And then you must provide a full accounting ledger proving the obligation has not already been settled via securitization. Then you also want to demand for the confirmation and compliance. The payee must acknowledge the receipt and processing of this promissory note within 30 days. Cease all collection and negative credit reporting activities associated with this debt. Talk about your legal recourse. This is not legal advice, but I'll tell you, hey, for their failure to process this, you feel me? A notice of dishonor will be filed under UCC 3-505. We just talked about that. And I also file a complaint with the regulatory agencies, the CFPB, FTC, and the State Attorney General for unlawful refusal of legal tender. Sign it, and as a pro tip, send this via certified with the return receipt for legal proof of delivery. Okay? Now, I told y'all if y'all got all the way to the end that I will have a special treat for you guys. Okay? Now, we went through that relatively fast. You feel me? And some of you guys may be able to go and say, you know, I'm going to go ahead and write this stuff down. All right. But regardless, some of you guys already know this. And I'm the one to confirm that, yes, it is possible. I just put together the legal application of how to put this in letter form. And even if you don't do it as perfectly as me, as long as you're hitting those key buttons, it becomes a promissory note. Okay? So if you have to go back and watch it multiple times, by all means do it. Okay? But now you know how promissory notes are used to create credit and how you might use them to pay your debt. Now, I'll also have part 2 and 3 of if you get to a point where they reject it. And also at the same time, I put together a lawsuit template as well. If you get as far as past dishonor and they still do not comply, you file with the CFPB, they still do not comply, things in that nature. I also have a lawsuit template as well. Now, again, all of these are templates. I always urge people to create their own letters. Use a template as a guideline. That's why I structured that way. Use a template as a guideline, but write it in your own way. Use it as a learning tool, okay? Do not write the stuff verbatim, right? Use it as a learning tool so that you know how to put these letters onto paper. Put these laws in paper. Dig me? Now, down below, those last 2 letters in regards to the lawsuit template, the last 2 letters as in regards to the notice of dishonor will be in the complete debt guide for only 47 bucks. Okay. I will grab it now because the more that I fill out this complete debt guide, the more the value is going to build up, because I don't think anybody on the market right now is putting the information out on the basis that I am, and then putting the actual application of the YouTube videos that I'm talking about and putting templates directly on how to do it in their learning tool. Okay, the complete debt guide is a learning tool. So when I take the time to not only instruct you guys, but then say, you know what, I'm about to take these templates and I'm about to throw it in the complete debt guide. This is something that I constantly update. So you are getting it into it on the ground floor for only 47 bucks. You got to treat it like a stock. For anybody who invested in the complete debt guide previously, they are looking at these videos like, I've already been tapped in. Okay. And if you lost the link, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Okay. Now, if you reach out to me and I got you, but tap in, okay, and get lifetime access to the complete debt guide before I start to make this more of a subscription. Okay. So also at the same time, if you're looking for one-on-one help, okay, and it's not debt related, okay, you are trying to build your credit, you're trying to get to a 750 plus credit score, and you're trying to operate your business entity by getting business credit with your good credit score, down below I have a link for my one-on-one mentorship. So if you want that more personalized help, tap in with that one-on-one mentorship. Yes, I can be able to bring clarity around my concepts on a one-on-one basis, but that is not the premise of my mentorship. My mentorship is geared towards building your credit, optimizing your credit, and helping you get up to 6 figures plus in funding so that you can invest in your business. If you are in debt, I would urge you to go and spend that $47 so that you can learn the process, because it's more about learning and understanding the education to actually win. It's not about having all of these templates. If you think that you're going to get a template and send it off and not totally understand how to apply it in the legal processes, then you're going to fail when it comes to debt discharge. If you're in an aspect where you're like, okay, bet, it's not my debt holding my credit back, I just have some negative items, charge-offs, collections, late payments, things in that nature, tap in my one-on-one mentorship. I want to get to 6 figures in funding plus, tap into my mentorship. The link will be in the description to apply. And then lastly, if you're looking for more help on the basis of, yes, I'd rather just pay somebody to write my letters for me, tap into Solo Suit. Okay, Solo Suit, they use AI technology that literally puts letters together for you. They're more geared towards if you're in a position where you're about to be sued by a debt collector, or if you want to negotiate a settlement with a debt collector, tap in with them. Finally, check out my Instagram at biz.nick. Okay. If you want to tap in with me on a more consistent basis, tap into my Instagram. Okay. But other than that, thank you guys for watching the video. You know, you guys have been showing a lot of love in my most recent videos. And when you guys show love, it just enforces me to keep dropping more bangers. Notice these videos are getting more tech. I'm giving more information. Okay. So I have a question for you guys. Have you ever heard of using a promissory note to pay off debt? What do you think about this method? Drop a comment down below. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Anybody who's gone through any experiences with promissory notes, okay? Drop down in the comment section. Let people know about the process, okay? Point them in the right direction, okay? You may not be able to make a video like me, but put it in the comment section. Use me as a platform and a place to say, let's all help each other, okay? And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the post notifications. And if you got all the way to the end, comment the word discharge. All right? Appreciate you guys. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.